Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you my pet Helix snails, or formerly known as Helix Aspera snails. I've had these pet snails now for a few weeks and they're very interesting to watch. And if you leave the cover off like this, they will try to get out immediately. They like crawling around on the ceiling of this cage, and actually I'm waiting for them to start laying eggs. I don't think they have yet. These snails here can get about twice the size. Their shells are probably the size of a $50 coin now, and these snails are not shy at all. If you pick them up, they'll crawl around all over you. I have this sponge in here that they can drink from. In here I have some moss. Here's a piece of cucumber. Here's some raspberries. Maybe I can get one of them to eat that now. And these snails are big enough, if you put them on your hand, you can actually feel their tongue licking you. Snails have like teeth on their tongue, and as they lick things, they slowly grind it away. Here we go. It's already eating. This is one of the biggest snail species you can own in the United States. There are much bigger species around the world, like the giant African land snail, but you actually need a permit to have that in the United States, of fear of it becoming a invasive species. These ones here do become invasive species if let outside, but they're not that bad because they're not huge. These things make very good pets and they're very easy to care for. If you're wondering, snails, those are their eyes right there. Their vision is actually very bad. They use mostly smell and taste to find their way around. They can just see shadows and stuff. Look at this guy here trying to make an escape. I have some moss around the cage, bunch of dirt. The dirt's good because they occasionally will dig. And this dirt here I got from outside in the yard, and in case there's anything in the dirt that might harm the snail, I put this in a freezer at -20 Fahrenheit for about a day. Then I defrosted it by putting it in the oven at 250 for about an hour, so those two extremes would kill most things that are dangerous. Over here in this side, I have some other pet snails, which are much smaller. Okay, I can't even pronounce the name of these ones over here. I'll just put the name on the screen. Look at this one trying to escape already. These ones here are very small. And these ones actually can go together, both of these snails. I keep these in a separate container because their babies would be able to get out of this screen here very easily. So I have this much finer holes I made with a hot pin. Now you can feed them almost any vegetable out there, except there's a few things you want to stay away from. You want to stay away from starchy foods. Don't give them rice or pasta. Those are some of the worst things. Don't give them anything with salt. And there are some vegetables that may not be, too obvious that they actually can't have. One of them is celery. They can't have parsley. They can't have spinach. Lemon and lime, those are really acidy, and they can't have those. Avocado, almost every animal in the world can't have, because that can be dangerous to most things. Celery, they can have on rare occasions, but those are foods you should probably try to avoid altogether. The best things to give these snails are like bright romaine lettuce, cucumber. They can have a lot of different fruits. They can actually eat things like dog food as a treat. They'll eat that. They'll eat dry or wet dog treats. And these guys are not shy at all. Once again, like you say, put your hand out and they'll start crawling right on. Like right now, I can actually feel that. This guy is actually licking my finger. Yeah, I can really feel that. Yeah, it actually feels kind of cool. Their tongue is very rough. Okay, I'm gonna remove my finger. You should actually wet your hands before handling a snail because your dry hand will actually absorb all their slime, which actually is not good for them. They have very colorful shells. And actually, what I have right over here on the shelf is something that you should give them occasionally. This here is calcium for reptiles, but snails need it too to be able to have their nice strong shell. Because like this situation, if you have a whole bunch of different snails and they're all together, if there's a calcium deficiency in the tank, they'll actually start licking each other's shells, wearing down the protective coating with their rough tongues. So not all the time, just occasionally sprinkle some of that calcium powder on there. You can actually give them other things too, like pieces of bone. You can give them eggshells. They'll eat that. It's perfectly healthy for them. I avoid eggshells just for the rare chance of giving them salmonella. Then every time you handle them, you'd be able to get that stuff. These snails here, this is just about their top speed. To be exact, their top speed is 0.029 miles an hour. Very, very slow. They can actually cover 300 feet an hour if they were actually moving full speed. 300 feet an hour. Around there. Look at these guys over here on the sponge. That one's upside down because I just put that one there. I kind of rearranged the snails. This one's really active. That one is white. There's a few of them that are darker colors. Some of them are very fancy, like that one that's up on the cucumber. Got a little bit of moss in here. I thought about putting hiding spaces in here, but I didn't really think that was necessary. I keep these in more of a dark area. Just like most animals like this, they're most active at night. But you see, they're not shy at all. They will be moving around even in the bright light now. Okay, you see that one there took a few bites out of that. That's why it's all bleeding and stuff. Just a little bit. These guys really are not hungry at the time. And also, when I try pulling them off surfaces like this, I be really careful so I don't hurt them. I try to avoid this, you see, because they're actually really stuck on there. I don't pull them right off. Most of the time, I'll try sliding them, like actually sliding them really slowly. But even that doesn't work sometimes, so I'll just put my hand out and wait for them to crawl on, because they don't stick to skin as easily as they do with the actual plastic. They stick to that really well. These ones here, when they have eggs, their eggs are actually pretty big. Their eggs are probably almost the size of these sections of raspberry. So when the snail hatches, immediately it starts feeding and growing. So I'm not too worried about them getting out of here. Maybe that hole if they found it. These guys are really good at escaping. So that's one thing I gotta watch out for. I have this mister over here that I use with the pump, because occasionally I go ahead and spray down the cage. This water I'm using here has been sitting around so it can distill, just to make sure there's no chlorine in there. Occasionally I'll spray down the snails themselves. Yeah, look, that snail didn't like that. Oh, there he goes. There, now you can get a look at the underside of the shell. These guys are very active and very social snails. I just wet my hand to try to get the snail. Okay, I'm just gonna stay like that and let the snail just climb up onto me really slowly. Okay, you see that? I just put some straight calcium powder on my hand. Is he gonna get any of that? Nope. Just traveling along. Occasionally, snail stops and licks. Now, just like any other snail, snails are actually hermaphrodites, which means they're both male and female. So any two of them can mate. And actually, occasionally, this kind of snail can have eggs on its own. They're actually self-fertilizing, but actually prefer another mate. These ones here are not as social as those Helix snails. They do come out, but it takes a while. Those ones are pretty shy. Look at that one there. Now it's gonna go get some cucumber. Calcium. So this is where I keep these guys. Up here, I just sprayed down this tank. That's why there's a lot of water droplets. They're all sealed up. Here's the other snails. Right next door is where the leech is. And this leech, I just fed the leech last week. So, it's probably hiding underneath there. Let me show this one. Lift up the glass. Usually hides under here. Nope, it's not in there. Oh, there he is on the back. There he is. There's the leech. Come on, don't do that. Can't put it down the way he is. Try not to crush him. Okay, there he goes. Last time I tried looking for him, he was underneath there. See the leech? Still digesting. Leech doesn't have to be fed often. I'll probably be changing the water in this tomorrow. A leech breathes through the skin, although they don't need an air stone. They actually love to be in stagnant water. Even though they love stagnant water, occasionally I'll do this, like every few days, just to add some air and get the water at least moving around. Like, the tank doesn't smell or anything. The water in here is about a week old. Doesn't smell polluted or anything. It just smells like, stagnant water. Most people who keep these usually keep them in jars, and they do it once a week. This is a bigger body of water for one leech. Okay, you see that thing floating there? That's actually a piece of the leech's skin. The leech isn't molting evenly. The snail in there, still eating. I should probably wipe down the glass. Okay, I returned 45 minutes later, and you see that? The snail is still there eating, carving out the entire center of that cucumber. Like, that is a lot of food for one tiny snail. Really hungry. The other one's up there on the ceiling.